All right, and welcome back. We are now going into game number 2 of Falcon Esports versus Team Sword. I am your friendly neighborhood shoutcaster, Shargan, and joining me today is Fang over Fang.
What it do?
What it do? I say it be pretty spicy.
It'd be a pretty spicy one, not gonna lie, dude. We saw FEC take a game off Team Sword.
And it was definitely one of the more chess match style games where it wasn't a lot going on, but it was definitely like no team seemed to hold the real advantage until like the very end when Falcon got those 2 big team fights and the big aces. That was really what pulled them ahead. So hopefully Team Sword will learn to counteract that. We do see the Draven and the Vladimir both getting banned off right off the bat, as well as the LeBlanc and Renekton as well. So we're probably going to see something a little more aggressive for pay time once again, similar to that Lee Sin. And then Sword is just deciding to completely forego the possibility of a Kog'Maw jungle or a Kog'Maw Lulu comp, and we have FEC picking up the Ezreal, almost as kind of like a, hey, anything you can do, I can do better, coming out of Beshiwap.
Both teams drafted the incredibly late-game team comps right now, and you're picking Ezreal, which is a mid-game AD carry for FEC, so I'm interested to see what they're going to pick. Hopefully not another late-game comp where it's a 40-minute game. Of course, the Vladimir that gets permanent banned against Kimmel Basil, who's one of the best Vladimirs in the entire tournament. Kai'Sa into Ezreal, which is pretty decent. Okay. Kai'Sa Nautilus is a really good lane. It's pretty OG for Kai'Sa and Nautilus when Kai'Sa was reigning in the bot lane. Because, of course, every single time there's a CC, it stacks on Kai'Sa passive.
Kai'Sa was one of the champions who was hit with a very small nerf this patch as well. Something to keep in mind, the Acathian Rain was had its cooldown increased by about 4 seconds at level 1, or 2 seconds at level 1, so that's going to be a decent amount of effect to Kai'Sa's wave clear. She's not going to be able to use it quite as often, and with the counter pick of the Alistar, I think that's going to make the bot lane a little bit tricky for Team Sword.
Ooh, the Silas pick to, of course, counter the Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks is... It's interesting because Fiddlesticks is actually, like, I don't think he's really good in competitive play, like, with his coordinations, that kind of things. Of course, Fiddlesticks is, like, never picked in pro play for a reason, because Fiddlesticks preys on teams having bad synergy and bad togetherness, like...
Bad vision.
Like, he prioritizes flanks and these kind of things, and Silas can take on Fiddlesticks ult and do a lot of damage with that. So I really want to see how Wild West plays as Fiddlesticks. I'm like, if I'm circling anything right now, I'm going to circle the Fiddlesticks pick.
As I would kind of agree with you there. I do think that FEC has had a better vision control, a better vision game than in comparison to Team Sword. I feel like Sword doesn't necessarily ward quite as much. As we've seen some of the other teams do in this league. But I do think that the Fiddlesticks is a little bit sus just because of how squishy he is, relatively speaking. And then Silas having 3 perfectly good ults to pick from before we even get into the next 2, I think is a great counter by Team Sword. And then we look at these bans coming out. We've already got the Wukong and the Diana band out, as well as the Castlewin and the Ornn for Team Sword. Both of these teams have decided they don't like certain win conditions and are just like, no.
Gross. I do not like Sejuani being picked. FOF plays a lot of Sejuani, and I don't get why, I'll be honest. Sejuani just really isn't that good of a champion. It's just such a gross champion.
Hold on. Hot take no.
Why not? Why do you like
Sejuani?
Why? She's so bad right now.
She's got such a great initial engage. She's a great initiator, and the initial tank that she has is fantastic. Yes, she is not good for sustained team fights, but whenever you're going for that side flank, you've got the jump in, and you've already got 3 sources to proc her passive. So if you have a lot of melee members on your team, she's perfect. If you only have one other melee member, it's not a good pick. And so in Team Sword's comp, as of right now, I really like it, because you're going to have the damage coming out from Set, the utility from Sejuani, plus the extra lockdown from Nautilus that is just going to make it possible for Kai'Sa to eventually get all of her passive stacks out. We do have the response pickup of the Yone and the Cho'Gath on the side of FEC. Both of those are actually pretty good at countering any engage that Sejuani's going to have if they see it coming, because you have the Yone ult that's going to basically just grab everyone in a line, and then you have the Cho'Gath who can just knock her up and then chomp down Kai'Sa before there's any possibility of something happening.
King Gator locks in his Jax, who played really good last game in general. And you know what? I'm going to just leave this argument with one thing. Sherigan, what is Sejuani's win rate?
I'm pretty sure it's like in the 40s.
If you are locking a 47% win rate champion, that's just it can be labeled as a gross champion. It's just bad.
I think it's funny that you know what her win rate is, and honestly, I was going to guess 48, and so I wouldn't have been too far off.
It's like 47.8, so pretty much.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Well, I just, it's like, for me personally, it's style of play that I think makes a big difference in why Sejuani works and when it doesn't. And in this case, I think Sejuani is a perfect pick because you've got the auto attacks from Jax, you've got the auto attacks from Sylas, and you've got the auto attacks from Nautilus. All of those are going to be proccing that passive, which means there's going to be a lot of knockdown coming out of Sejuani in this game. And then you're looking over at the side of FEC, though. I do think that Cho'Gath is going to be a big problem, and I think that if Sword is not on their vision game, Fiddlesticks is going to be the bane of their existence.
It's a fine pick into the other team comp, and I think that we should probably get into game. But
yeah, so let's go ahead and hop into this and just actually see how this plays out. This game was not pre-recorded. I promise.
See this NA production, but
we are watching this live. This is not pre-recorded gameplay footage.
30 seconds until minions.
So predictions-wise, I'm gonna go FEC, just based on the fact that they won last game, and I think that Yo and Fiddlesticks is a very good combo. Cho'Gath is one of the most. He's a freeload merchant as well. I said Cassian's a freeload merchant. Cho'Gath is a freeload merchant as well. So I'm just gonna say FEC wins based on mental diff, and that's pretty much it.
I would completely agree with you in the reasonings for their winning, in the sense of they've already got the momentum, and I think that Team Sword, we've seen, has a little bit of difficulty when they're stuck on losing streaks to come back, and so I think that that's going to be to their disadvantage. Hopefully they're able to hold it together and actually pull out a win here, because I have a feeling they're totally capable of it. I am looking forward to seeing this fight in the mid lane, though, because a Yone-Sylas matchup is always really fun.
This is actually weird. This is one of the first times I can confidently say in an FOF game where I casted that there's not back-to-back, like, usually drafts are like so one-sided, but this draft is like, it's fine. Like, I mean, Sejuani is a gross champion at the moment, but like, it's fine. I think that both teams drafted pretty okay. Well, like the last game, Sword drafted pretty heinously. Like, it was a 100% a sin how they drafted, but they made up for it. I think that their coach's name is Alex, so perhaps he
got a lot of damage coming out already on the side of Team Sword, as they're getting some good poke onto Paytime. He almost got 5-hit procced by Kai'Sa, but he was able to, basically, Kai'Sa just didn't go for that last hit. We do have a fight here in the mid lane. Camel Basil getting knocked down to half health. A nice hook coming out from the side of Ollie. Isn't quite able to capitalize it, but that is going to leave bot lane pretty chunked down. Same thing here in the top lane. Gator is able to do a lot of damage to Cho'Gath early. Cho'Gath needs to hit level 6 and try and start stacking up those minion stacks and chomping stacks. So once he gets full, that's when we're going to have Sword's going to have a big problem.
Very smart by Sword to punish Alistar very. Alistar is like the weakest champion at level 1. They get the nice damage off on the Ezreal. But it's interesting that
nice dive by Camel Basil right there,
down
but not able to pull through.
Fiddlesticks should be pathing down in the spot lane, as we see Sejuani, the gross champion, ganking and doing absolutely nothing. And it's going to walk and take a scuttle. There might be a scuttle fight here, since Fiddlesticks is on the bot side of the map. Good ward by Sword.
That was really not absolutely nothing. We do have King Gator jumping onto doing a lot of damage onto Haps, who's in the top lane right now. Like, that is something to point out. Getting first blood, as we do not have blanking at the moment. Sorry.
That's very smart by Camel Basil. I did not see a lot of people do this at lower ranks in general, use your E on Yone to scout, and he drops a ward in that very important pixel bush, and it snaps right back. Of course, he did that to see also if Sejuani took the scuttle since Fiddlesticks was down in the bot lane. Very smart by him in general.
Mm-hmm.
As
Yeah,
you literally
no,
lose
sorry, I was
nothing
going to
from
say
it.
that there was some role swapping around that I forgot to point out. Beshiwap is not on the ADC role right now. Haps is up in the top lane, and Paytime is actually on the ADC role. So they're trying to mix it up a little bit. I think it was the Ezreal pick that's the whole reason why.
Maybe they wanted to take away from Fix Your Fire, who I think plays a lot of Ezreal. Of course, Camel Basil is fighting right now.
Nice amount of damage onto Jovi by Camel Basil. We do have a bit of a hook fight going on right here in the bot lane. Ollie does manage to get a root onto Beshi, but he gets knocked back. We do have Camel Basil taking a lot of damage. Jovi is able to burst him down quite a bit. King Gator also going into a fight and having a huge minion wave fight against him. Jovi was not quite able to secure that kill on Camel Basil. Camel is looking like he's at 10 health. We do have Cam at this time also roaming down to the bot side, and we have a knockback, not quite able to get in. They are going to dash in, trying to get out the flail, not able to get it. They are going to get a stun onto Beshiwap. Beshiwap's going to get bursted down. That right there was really well done. We do have Ollie continuing this engage a little bit beyond the rest of his team, and doesn't manage to actually pull Paytime out of tower range, so they aren't able to finish him off.
Good job by Ollie, who I think was like the second best player for Sword last game. There's a hook timing when he went out for Ezreal to go and poke for absolutely no reason. He gets caught out from the wave. Nice hook by Nautilus to get in there. And Ezreal, there's a role swap, like you said. Paytime is in the 80k role this portion. There's an E timing on Ezreal's Arcane Shift where you can Arcane Shift for certain hooks, and CCs and that kind of things. And I have not seen him do it one time yet.
He's not quite had the opportunity. I think we've Ollie's been basically timing it out to where he's not able to Arcane Shift because of cooldowns.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Arcane Shift's also a very long cooldown. I think it's 22 seconds on rank 1, so maybe it was not up from that first gank. It's really not the smartest play to go back in after you see the Sejuani was bot lane because they had a war on him. But they were trying to push the wave into tower, and they just die from it for poking for no reason.
Well, I guess pushing the Wayne into tower is definitely a good idea. And I think King Gator is once again in a position where he's just shoving his wave under Haps's the top lane tower, and he's kind of basically letting Cho'Gath free farm. At this point, it's kind of one of those situations where Cho'Gath wants to be as close to his tower as possible so he can just get those free minion stacks. Once he gets those, he's pretty much free to just start eating champions. Look at that nice knockup by Ollie as he managed to catch Jovi. Jovi's going to have to flash out. The Ignite is down, though. He's not going to be able to get his full heal, but he's still going to heal up just enough to basically be like, yeah, you got me down to half health, but it's not going to matter here shortly.
This is a really great road timing by Beshiwap. The famous Alistar gank in the mid lane, he literally loses absolutely nothing for this. I think he loses maybe 1 CS, maybe 2. Very smart by him. You get the flash out from Silas, which is really important because Silas relies a lot on his flash, actually, because he's a champion that literally just goes in and smacks people with his head, basically, with his W, as he's going to do it immediately again.
Look at that. He's doing exactly what you were saying right there, doing a lot of damage to poor Camel Basil. Camel Basil not quite able to do it. He did steal all Beshiwap's ultimate, so he does have the Alistar ult, which will make it to where he could go under tower pretty easily and not take a lot of damage.
So, King Gator has done this in back-to-back games, and does this a lot, where he's perma-pushed right now. And Wild really didn't punish him that much last game for it. I think he maybe killed him one time, perhaps, but he is perma-pushed yet again on Jax, which is a late-game champion, and he's going to get a huge lead if he continues to be able to do this. He's going to have perma Bryo for the Sejuani pick. I mean, Sejuani can't really invade, but it's important to have Bryo, of course, in lanes. As EQ,
yeah, Paytime
nice.
getting a nice bit of damage with that Arcane Shift and the Flux right there.
Very smart by him to weave in the autos. A lot of problems with Ezreal players in general is that they forget to weave in autos. You are, of course, an AD carry.
Cam stopping for the control ward instead of continuing this gank. Probably not a bad idea. Did use the blast cone to get over the wall. Camel Basil also taking out the control ward in the mid lane. And as we're looking at this game and how it's playing out right now, we do see that they have upped their vision game and are working much harder. Good placement of that ward, anticipating the gank by Wild West Wild. So they are aware that Fiddlesticks is nearby. Poor Fix Your Fart is so close to death, though.
Nautilus missed the hook and hit the wall earlier. I don't think that you'd be able to kill him either, but it might have been good that he actually missed that, to be honest. Let's see if he gets the Arcane Shift with the hook. He's yet to do it yet. Okay. I'm interested to see if he can do it. Of course, this is a role swap, like you said.
I have a feeling, though, that this is one of those situations where it's probably a swap for Champion Comfort, because we do see that Paytime is doing a pretty good job right now. And I don't like that Beshiwab is just hiding out in that bush. That bush has become kind of like a camping ground at this point in time for most of FEC.
Yeah.
Right there. Nice hook coming down, but we have the ult coming in from the Fiddlesticks. The fear coming off onto Nautilus, and that is going to be a lot of damage as Wild West Wild does manage to take down Fix Your Fart. That is not going to be able to take down Ollie, though, as Nautilus is just too tanky.
That just feels so bad for the bot lane of Sword. You saw Fiddlesticks there eventually, but you're not going to expect him to sit there for a full 2 minutes.
Yep.
And
that
he just does
one
that.
Of those things.
Like, that's one of the problems with League. Like, something that's so hard is that you, of course, try to predict what your opponent's doing. And certain things are just unpredictable. You know, if your Fiddlesticks is sitting down in solo queue, I'm spam pinging him. Why are you sitting in my lane for a minute and a half, doing absolutely nothing? I mean, it works out eventually.
Look at this. King Gator is taking a lot of damage from both his minion waves and from Haps. Haps flashing out of the counter strike to avoid it. We do see the counter flash from King Gator to try and continue. As Haps knows that he has a good victory right there, is able to get the noms as he eats up King Gator.
It was all about dodging the counter strike from Jax right there. Very smart by Cho'Gath to dodge out in the stun. And from that point on,
we have another continued fight here in the mid lane. Camel Basil getting a lot of damage taken out as Jovi does manage to hit him down. We have, once again, the Alistar ult stolen. Nice knock up by Beshies. He hits 3 members of Team Sword, but this fight is still continuing. We have the stun coming out from Sejuani, locking them down. Look at this. We have the ult coming down as well, keeping Yone from being able to escape. A huge amount of damage, all coming out from a sword. They are not going to be able to pick up a kill. However, that is going to be a couple of plates on this mid turret, and that is going to put them in a good position to rotate to Rift Herald if that's what they so choose.
I really feel like Kalen Basil could have had a portion where he could have ulted and did the little scoop, and he would have got a 3 or 4 man. It was a three-man scoop. He did not do it, and he basically did a ton of damage for it because he tried to do the double stack on the Q, Q knock up, and he got punished for it as.
Ooh, we have Ollie getting caught out, trying to escape. Goes for the hook on the wall, does get pulled in front of all the members, gets caught in that choke point.
Alright, so Ollie has gone Moby Boots as well, so I need to see him roam more. If you're going Moby Boots, I need you to get kills early. You're going to have lane phase for another maybe, I don't know, hopefully for Sword another 5 minutes maybe. I want to see if Ollie can do it. There's roaming timing. Eventually, he's going to go mid, pick up this wave maybe. I want to see if he can maybe go top, but like top is permanent push. I don't really. The Moe Boots is a bit questionable. Ollie
did pick up the Moe Boots. He did rotate mid. He's kind of going for that flank now as he's coming in from the river. I do think that it's a good pickup for Nautilus just because it does allow him to get to and from base a lot faster, which is always the biggest problem with Nautilus. Is he's just so slow as he just waddles around the map. I feel at this point, though, that this top lane, Haps doesn't mind being pushed under tower because he can easily win against King Gator if he avoids that counter-strike, just because the execution is getting even beefier from his ultimate at this point. And we're looking at the rest of Team Sword, and they've got themselves in pretty good spots. Jovi's shown that he can outduel Camel on this Yone with the Silas, and it's just looking like it's going in Sword's favor.
So they have Pry on the top lane for Sword. They had Pry on the bot lane. They don't have Pry anymore. And mid is like even at the moment. they can assume that Fiddlesticks is in the top side, maybe in the bot. No, yeah, alright, finally they do Dragon. It took them long enough. It took me like 20 seconds to explain why I should do Dragon before they even did it. They finally get it. There we go.
Yeah, now that's one of those
Perfect.
easy Drake pickups that you get because the rest of FEC just wasn't paying attention.
So this is actually really huge for Sword that they got the Dragon lead. Fiddlesticks, one of the best things about Fiddlesticks and what's important for Fiddlesticks is early getting ejected early, and if you have that, what?
Look at this. We have a nice fight going on here in the Rift Herald pit, but that is going to be Wild West Wild going on a killing spree as they just completely take down Jovi, who kind of set themselves in a bad spot. Cam trying to come in to steal that Rift Herald is going to take a lot of damage, but is able to walk away just fine. Missed hook from Ollie as he's going to walk up trying to get Beshi, but is not quite able to find his hit.
What are you doing?
As of right now, I would say that they are looking to try and bait Ollie into an engage.
Oh no, no. Okay, yeah. You're gonna act like you didn't just see Silas completely in. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm supposed to be nice there. I forgot about that.
No. I pointed out the fact that Silas completely went in on a silly engage. Camel Basil does drop the Rift Herald in the mid lane. That's going to be a nice bit of damage to that mid turret. All three of the mid tier 1 turrets are still up on both sides, though we're about to see bot and mid fall for Team Sword.
I'm gonna be honest. I've been part of FF for what's close to I think almost a year and a half now, and I've casted many games. I have never seen someone int that hard.
I think that was probably just an overextended engage. Look at this Beshi Wap taking a lot of damage, using the ult to try and stay alive, is able to knock Jovi back into his Wild West Wild. Although I'm not quite able to take advantage of the fear and such from Fiddlestick, but is able to use the ult. That is going to be a double ult to escape as Jovi manages to get away from Fiddlesticks using his own trick against him. That was a really good use of that Fiddlesticks ult.
It's almost like a tradition for me. Whenever I flame somebody, I swear that they just do something insane afterwards. That doesn't make up for you inting, but very good to get out.
Yep. Nice knockback. As Ollie does get knocked into the FEC, he is going to get stunned and take a lot of damage, but he's going to get out as the secondary proc from Ione does not manage to kill him.
Nice try on the headbutt. Pulverized back into the team, but Nautilus is just very tanky, even at level 7. Goodbye, Ali, to use the Q into the wall, which will, of course, pull you into it. Very smart. Good play in general by everyone so far, besides Jovi inting. But Jovi, man.
Yeah, it was a little bit of... I understand. That was a little bit of a sus thing to do. I do like Haps picking up this Rift Herald on the top lane. That's going to be yet another stack for the Cho'Gath, getting him even more beefy as he fills up his big belly. And we do have in the bot lane, Sejuani picking up this blue buff. They're probably looking for an engage on this Yone, expecting him to push up. So while Sword was ahead early game, as of right now, the gold lead has actually shifted over to the side of FEC. And with that, I think we're actually seeing why their comp is just they outdrafted Team Sword. Because while I like Sword's draft, I think FEC's is the better one. It is going to be one of those things where there are just more objectives being taken for Falcon than there are for Team Sword.
There's a 4-man commit in this bot lane right here. All right, this is really important portion of the game right now. This is the first time that Haps has prio of the top lane. You see there's a 4-man bot. What do you get from this? Bot lane's roaming up to the top side. Maybe they're going to gank King Gator right here.
I'm expecting King Gator to basically engage on this fight. He is putting himself in a bad spot, though. We are having the rest of FEC rotate here to try and continue this fight. They're trying to get Haps even more beefy. Look at that damage coming out. Haps is able to knock him up. That is an Ezreal ult coming out and a Q to get the snipe kill. We do have Jovi coming in on the backline, though. He's trying to 1v3. Not quite able to do it yet. He's not at that point. He does use the ulti, though, from... Alistair. He's getting a little bit more beefy, a little bit more tanky. He does force the fight under turret, which allows for Sejuani to come in, get a nice knock-up, get a nice root. We have a lot of damage coming out from Silas. Look at that. He does miss the Throne Breaker, though, as that is going to be Team FEC turning it around, and a teleport coming out as well from Yone to join them in the top lane. We have a fight continuing here in the mid lane. Fiddlesticks kind of just basically holding off Fix Your Fart. Not really having too much trouble doing it either.
Yeah, Fiddlesticks is a scary champion when it comes to mid lane ganks. The Raptor ganks on both sides of mid and where he is right now, where you see that honey fruit is another gang spot, and the opposite portion of that. You really have to watch out for that when you're pushing up. I'm really impressed with FEC's macro at the moment. You saw there was 4 bot, and they immediately go top, force the fight into King Gator. King Gator is a very aggressive champion.
There's just nowhere for him to go as he just gets bursted down.
Ali's in no man's land at the moment, trying to clear out wards. I get it, the dragon's up.
He's just making some sashimi, essentially.
Yeah, he's just chopping my boy up. Have you ever seen those videos of like Japanese chefs like making food?
The hibachi chefs, yes, he does have the swords. A little bit more like a Mongolian barbecue in this case because they're a little bit longer than your traditional hibachi spatulas, but
they have like 10 million views, and they're just like they're so relaxing, man. I don't know what it is.
It's the ASMR, and look at this. We have poor Cam taking so much damage just trying to get his raptors. He just wants to eat some chicken, man. Leave him alone, Ezreal. Paytime is like, nah. That was mine, and you stole it from me.
I may or may have not have a certain plant recently, and I spent an hour watching someone chop up an egg, and it was a good time, man. It was great. I really enjoyed myself as Choke.
That I have no doubt. Look at this. Haps is once again getting ganged up on. He is able to avoid the flail coming out from Sejuani, not getting rooted right there. Is going to have to take the root from the rest of that. We have the Nautilus Death Charge coming out as well. Nice knock up, and that is going to be poor Kai'Sa just absolutely shredded. Not quite taken out though, but that is going to be down to a quarter of her health as Fixture Fart is going to have to back in order to escape. Haps doing a good job to escape as well.
That is so. Look at this E range, man. Dude. Oh, it's dead?
Ooh, the snipe from Paytime. They were able to just get vision on it. We did see that Paytime was trying to, I think they doubled back in order to try and avoid getting hit by the Ezreal ult, but wasn't quite able to do it.
This is really good teamwork right here. Yon gets vision on. Oh, and the flash. Oh, pain, bro. Man. Pain.
So that's one of those ones. If he had flashed to the other side of the inhibitor, I think they would have been fine.
That might just be karma for using the worst Kai'Sa skin that she possibly has. That's all I'm saying.
I have issues with Kai'Sa's design just from the get-go, but that is me. That is a nice use of the Yone ult coming out from Jovi, but Jovi just doesn't have the health in order to counteract a 2v1, and he just gets completely shut down.
This King Gator is here. He might. This is a double kill. Oh, close. All right.
Not quite.
Goodbye, Payton. What?
That is a flash and a. Let's see here. We do have another. Oh, good dodge by Camel Basil to avoid the Nautilus hook. Is not going to matter though, as he gets rooted and stunned by the Sejuani permafrost. And look at that. We have Paytime just doing some work, getting some snipes on the back line. He's going to get frozen up right there. King Gator trying to run away from the Alistar, does not manage to actually escape though, as he gets pulverized. And that is going to be Nautilus taken down, as well as once again FEC has shown that their macro is just on point this game, and they are completely decimating the front line, the defenses of Team Sword.
So we talked about last game why Ezreal is such a good champion, that he's probably one of the best AD carriers in the game right now, and it's not really because Ezreal got direct buffs, as we see.
Oh, look at that! The cheese, the trying to get the tower.
Oh, look at that! Clot. Cowbell.
No.
More cowbell. We need more.
Not enough. Give
me a zoom in. Give me a zoom in on the cowbell. Let's go. And then all right. Kai'Sa, we don't like that. That was like what, a 1,500 gold right there. Int. I appreciate you, FEC. As we zoom in on the sad Ezreal, man, look how sad he is. But more cowbell. I really hope that he responds and he's just spamming cowbell again.
Yeah, well, see, that right there is like, I understand that FEC is Falcon is very far ahead right now. That was a good snipe by Fixture Fart in order to basically be like, oh, they're just trolling under turret. I can totally double kill them at this point.
You know what, Mr. Sherigan, King of Casters? I'm going to give you a wild prediction, dude. Like, I'm an ESPN analyst right now. I'll give you a wild prediction, okay? FEC INT will be the finals of the Heroic League. I'm calling it now.
You heard it here first, folks. So FEC versus INT in the finals. You know, I think that has the same amount of possibility as a hole in the rift revealing the bottom side of the map.
Are you saying it's absolutely not gonna happen?
No, I'm saying it's not a 0% possibility because we have that happening on the map right now. That is a good dredge line, good hook coming out right there from Ollie, trying to get a hook, but it doesn't really matter because he's just too bursty right now. He doesn't have the health, is not able to survive the onslaught coming out from Team Falcon. Right now, Falcon has this game in the bag. Beshi trying to look for a good engage, doesn't really find one though. It's not going to matter though. They're just going to start up this Baron, basically being like, hey, you want to stop us? We know you do, but we want you to try and stop us. Ezreal just waiting to shift over that wall. He's just waiting for it. He wants to go in. Yone already jumping over. Look at that double knockups from the Pulverize. And Yone getting a lot of damage in from going into the Spirit Realm. And there's literally nothing that Team Sword can do right now to stop this Baron from going down. And look at that. They just have the cleanup as the knockup comes out, as Paytime picks it up, the fix your fart. Fight still going on right here as we do have Jovi doing the bit of a turnaround, getting a nice bit of damage, is able to hit him out. But we have our Paytime being like, look, fine, yeah, go ahead and take him out. It's okay. I'm going to take you out as well. Are we going to get a double, triple kill? Because we do have that double going down. That is a nice bit of dodging coming up, but it's going to be just by the skin of his teeth. Does he take down King Gator?
Very smart. Actually, disrespect the core. He just stood still and was like, yeah, I'm going to win this. Also, did you see the hole in the rift? Did you just see that hole in the rift, that optical glitch?
I told you it was a 0%. It was not a 0% possibility.
This is Riot, like, proving like that I am the best and smartest person to ever exist on planet Earth. As
I think you might need to take a chill pill on the plant, my friend, because I was actually saying that while that was already on the rift.
Oh man, oh no, dude. Oh no.
So, like this right here, this is really clean. I do like what Paytime has done. He was able to stay full health for almost the entire fight. I feel King Gator, there was not much more he could do. That was just kind of down to the luck of the game. That was really well done by Paytime with that Baron buff, just giving him that little extra oomph that he needed to win that fight.
That's a wallet diff, to be honest, when it came to the Jax fight right there. Just Ezreal was just so far ahead, and he didn't even orb walk, he didn't even attack move, nothing. He just stood still in the EQ combo. I mean, he didn't miss a single Q, so I guess good by him. Just unfortunate, like they're just so far ahead that you got in the highlight reel for like the ESPN top 10.
He did still have the heal, so that was still an option available to him. He didn't have to get as low as he did. Jax did have flash as well, so that was something he probably should have used in order to escape. Good knock-up, good catch. That is going to be picture far, extending too far and taken down by Camel Basil, who's going to return once again to the Gromp and get his frog legs for dinner.
One of the scariest parts of FEC's comm in general is they're just so far ahead. I mean, obviously, but Fiddlesticks is such a champion. When you're ahead, it's so punishable. Like, if you walk into your jungle at any point,
that is going to be Beshi Wap getting a nice knockup, but it basically cancel the engage. That is a good route from the Everfrost, trying to stop the rest of Team Sword, but it's not going to matter as Havs is just so tanky. Look at how much health he's got. He's got to be like 4,000 health right there. He's going to be able to get some nice noms as he gets the double kill, and it just gets absolutely disgusting.
We're getting a guest appearance by Shurigan's Hiccups, and I talked about if Paytime can do the E animation. Oh, the disrespect.
Look at this. Paytime is 1v1ing Fix Your Fart. Fix Your Fart just has no chance at this point in time. He's way too far ahead at this point. We do have the rest of FEC just kind of, they know how far ahead they are. They know that they've got this game in the bag. They're kind of going for the cheesy plays, going for that tank crush. They are able to go under these towers and just completely ignore them for the most part. That is going to be Paytime taking them though from the turret shot as he just stayed under turret for just a little bit too long. Everfrost coming out, does manage to pick himself up another stun that's going to leave Beshiwap really low, not able to be taken down though as Nautilus gets bursted down as well. Haps going on a killing spree, pretty sure he got some noms on there as well. This is just a very full Cho'Gath, and it is one of the most terrifying things you can see walking around in your base. That is Godzilla, and there is no King Kong on the side of Team Sword.
Dang, I was silky, man. I honestly feel honored from Cat. No kink, that dude. That was good. That was good. I gotta respect your game for that. That was great. We're walking over the rift right now. They didn't fall in. I don't know how. That's like the scene from Game of Thrones where Sweet Robin wants someone to like fly through the moon door. I don't think anyone's gonna get that because I'm a huge nerd about Game of Thrones. But there's just a huge. Oh, look, there's a tower right there. Okay.
Yep, we got a little bit of tower left over inside of that one. This is probably one of the funnier glitches with League of Legends. I love it. I love this one personally.
You can see the scenery of the bottom of the world Are they gonna walk
No.
into the? No. Why does it
No,
look like a swamp in the bottom? By the way,
It's because of the fog of war that's down there.
it's the
So
fog
if you were to
of
actually,
it.
it's so from a graphical design glitch or a graphical design hack in order to make it to where you don't have to render everything.
Look at my boy Beshiwap with the cowbells. We saw that Fiddlesticks was losing to the blue buff. He missed multiple spells. I have to flame him.
I do
gotta
want to
do it.
say, out of all of the Alistair skins, that is my least favorite Alistair skin. I hate it because I hate that freaking cowbell.
Well, the cowbell's so good, man.
No, it's disgusting. It is gross. It is awful, and it is anger-inducing, and it will make me tilt so hard.
I love the cowbell. The cowbell emote is actually the best emote in all of League. Number one. Absolutely.
All right, so
I don't think it's any.
At this point, FEC is just going for the secure win. They're going for this last tower right here. There's really nothing Sword can do at this point in time. It is going to be FEC moving on. Team Sword, unfortunately, is going to be knocked out of this bracket, and it is going to be sad to see them go. They have put up one hell of a fight, though. Their sister team, Team Spirit, is still there. Look at that double. That was a double knockup coming out. That is just so much damage on the side of FEC. They're going to be forcing this into the fountain. There's nothing Sword can do. They're trying to get it. Paytime getting the snipe as he's able to take down poor Kaiza. Picture part just not able to do anything. And at this point, that is going to be game. And the Nexus is just going to go down as we get the cheese right now as they're just trying to get those last few kills.
Nice wombo combo at the end to calculate what was a pretty dominant performance by FEC in the game too.
FEC came into this game looking to win, and that is exactly what they did. Oh man, there's not a lot to be said about this one. That is really, really rough. You hate to see it. It was a much more intense game than the last one, but that is one of the reasons why FEC is as they were holding second place for as long as they were.
FEC is a great team. I made my prediction if when it comes to INT in the FEC finals. I don't know if INT has made their pick yet for who they will be facing. Or do they do picks in the winners bracket?
What do you mean picks in the winners bracket?
Does a team that's like in the winners bracket? No, I don't think they do picks because the winners brackets. Never mind. We'll talk about that later. But yeah. Of course, Sword, which is a new kid on the block, along with their sister team Spear, both going down back-to-back series. We love them, and they are a good team, both Spear and Sword. I hope they come back. Overall, I think that their presences alone has greatly increased the skill level when it comes to the Heroic League. FEC and UB, also teams that were new kids on the block, have increased the skill gap. In general, the exponential growth that has happened from just the teams in general, like the Heroic, I think the Heroic League actually got so much better from like the off season, from season 2 to season 3. Like it's actually crazy, man.
I completely agree with you. I think that our Heroic, like the amount of growth we've seen in all of the teams in the Heroic League has been absolutely fantastic. Team Sword, definitely, like the way they played this game is not how they looked playing at the beginning of the season. I think that they were a lot stronger this time through. I think FEC just was able to get the ball rolling, get that snowball going, and unfortunately, Team Sword wasn't able to stem that flood. Their branch just wasn't quite strong enough. And so they did what they could to stop the bleeding, but they just weren't quite able to do it. I think that in this case, I'm going to chalk it up more to a draft difference in this case, just because I feel like there were a lot of things that Sword had going for them, but they just weren't quite able to execute their win condition in comparison to Team Falcon Esports. And
Falcon
with
Esports also was one of the few teams that's beaten UB as well.
They have. They were ranked number 2. And with that, I think we're ready to take a quick break. We'll be coming back with an interview. Yep. And then with that, I think that will be...
Hello, folks. Chris Edgeworth here. For our second interview, I am joined by the victorious Paytime of Falcons Esports. How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. That was a fun game. It was a pretty good series. I would say that Sword put up a good fight. Looking forward to playing against CB next week.
Yeah, we will definitely be talking about the UB matchup in a second. Let's start with how we got here. Yesterday, you did unfortunately fall against INT, and now here you are in the loser brackets game. You guys put on a decisive performance today. Talk to me a little bit about how we got here with the 3 games against INT yesterday and your thoughts on that matchup.
Yeah, so when we saw that UB lost, we were like, oh, we'll lose 2, and then we'll meet them in the losers finals. That was kind of the idea. No, I'm kidding. Yesterday. Yeah, no. I would just say 100% that like we, personally as like the coach and as the drafter for our team, I didn't do enough research on how the meta was shifting, and we were kind of playing like an outdated style. We made our adjustments and then we came in today pretty confident, knowing that we had a good read on the meta and that we were gonna at least test to see how we performed with the new picks, because obviously we didn't have a lot of time to practice because it was literally yesterday. But we felt pretty good coming into today, and I think the prep paid off.
Hey, you guys brought out 2 very different compositions and compositions of players, organizations, so to speak, on the Rift. So let's talk about Game 1 in the more conventional lineup for you folks. You did have Camel on the cracked out like Season 3 level Kassadin. That was just terror, just murdering everything on sight once he got Everfrost. And then you were absolutely nuts on the Lee also. Talk to me a little bit about this first game and just how it felt to be wielding the Lee Sin as the now top laner.
Yeah, that game, teams only banned Lee Sin in the second round. I don't know why they didn't. That was just kind of like the trend after like the first couple times that I played it. So when we saw it up, it was kind of just like, why not? There wasn't like really like too much thought into like everything. All our picks kind of just like fell into place, I guess you could say. And then the Lee Sin pick was just like a fun way to like provide what our team needed, but also put me on a comfort pick, I guess. The Jax matchup was interesting. I knew that he was going to outscale at a certain point, but I also knew that if he messed up, I could punish him really bad. And I was able to do that with the Insec earlier when I kicked him into the tower.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, like, it was just like a really comfortable game overall. We all got picks that we're pretty comfortable on, and we were happy with how the game played out.
So what was, let me just ask you straight up, what was the thought on the swaps on game 2?
To be honest, it's kind of a little bit of banter, but Beshi was kind of just like, you know, I'm so bored playing against this bot lane and lane. I kind of just want to play Alistar and Roam, so we're just like, why not? So it was a little bit of a flex. I mean, obviously the game played out pretty well, or how we expected it to, but it wasn't anything. There wasn't too much deep thought. We were just like, if this is what he wants to do, we'll do it. We also anticipated them to ban Lee too, so it was just like we'll account for that. But ended up just playing out almost like the first game. We were pretty comfortable and we closed out pretty quickly.
So you talk about the adaptations coming in for the new patch. You swap into the bottom lane. First of all, shouts out to just putting your support on a champion that requires absolutely no hands or brain. Right when you put them in the top lane. So got that one covered. So you take over the Ezreal duty. New Ezreal with the cracked out Divine Sunder. What are your thoughts on this champion? You guys first picked it.
My thoughts are just like after like seeing it in the LCS and seeing its like its popularity grow with the Sunder build. I definitely was like, I haven't played it to be honest. Like that, this was the first day I played the Sunder build on Ezreal, and it feels pretty free. I don't know. Obviously, I played Ezreal in the past, so it was just one of those things where it was like, put me on a comfort pick, let Alistar roam, and then try out this new build. It felt pretty good. I would say the damage is like, if not comparable, then better to the other build that I did in earlier in the season. So it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, I personally haven't played any Ezreal since they changed the items. You know, I don't think at the beginning of the season really either of the two Spellblade Phage, or not Phage, rather Sheen items that were built to Divine Sunder and T-Force were really that good for him in the early part of the season, since they've turbo buffed Divine Sunder. They're buffing T-Force again too, but of the two, strictly better, I think. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. That's for the 11-13 on the mobility updates. They're doubling, if I'm remembering correctly. I may be wrong. Someone in chat might know better than I, but I believe they're removing the movement speed bonus from the mythic passive, and they're converting it from the +3 movement speed to the doubling the AD to +6 for legendary.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about what is coming up. You talked about it a second ago. The UB matchup faded now to be in the lower bracket. What are your thoughts, especially after seeing their performance today against Sword's sister team, Team Spear? What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Right. I think that every team that's still in playoffs now, it's just a good opportunity to really like test your mettle, to see what, like, you know, how much you've improved over the season. I think like if I remember correctly, the last time we played UB, I didn't really like what I drafted. And I'm hoping that in this next best of 5, we'll have a good opportunity to, you know, adapt over the course of the 5 games and really test each other. I really just want to see how far our teams come based on what we've learned up until now, and it'll be a really fun series against them. I think they're really good. I think it should have been us in the, you know, the winners finals, but you know, we'll have to duke it out earlier.
I think you know, I'll just say as a spectator to all of this, you know, it is nicer that you guys do have to face off here in the losers bracket, because it gives absolute certainty to the result. You know, one of you falters in this matchup, and it's game over for you. Whereas you guys, if you had matched up on the upper side of the bracket, there could have been a redemption arc. So good luck for Falcon and for yourself in this matchup against UB coming up, Paytime. And thanks for the interview. Before we step away, do you have any final thoughts for us?
No, today was a really fun series. Again, mad respect to Sword and Spear. I know they're like a sister organization, so it was really cool to have that interaction throughout the season. I think they put up a good fight for what it was worth. And then just really looking forward to playing against UB. Proud of my guys for bouncing back. That's always, like, you know, difficult. We could have came into today, like, you know, 24 hours later, like, just kind of like with a losing mindset because of how we felt like we should have won yesterday, but we didn't. But, you know, it felt like everyone reset and we played really well. And I think we kind of needed that loss because we had been on a pretty big streak throughout the regular season after I joined the main roster. So that was a really good wake-up call, and we're looking forward to competing against UB next week.
Awesome. Well, it's certainly a tip of the hat for the sportsmanship there on Sword and Spear, who, after today's loser bracket matchups, they are in fact eliminated. We do look forward to hopefully seeing them join us again for the next season of Friend or Foe, whenever that may be. And certainly excited to see those teams that remain as they advance. So thanks again, Paytime, for this interview, and congratulations to your team, Falcons Esports, for the win today. Folks, that is going to be it for us on this broadcast today. We will be again here on Friday to bring you our Mythic matchups to start off the playoffs for that. We'll be back again next week on Tuesday with our matchups at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, if I'm remembering correctly. So look forward to joining us then. We will be picking up with our introductory refresher on this week's games before we get you into that 5-game series action. So we look forward to seeing everyone then, whether it be this coming Friday or next week. So folks, thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope to see you again soon.
And we could put lights up all this time, you know.